Hey, good morning. This is Grandpa's Cabin Life on Instagram and YouTube. Taking a look at chapter 4 of the book, I found a property I love. Now what? In the previous chapters, we've looked at putting your wish list together. We've looked at getting your financing well established. We've looked at actually searching properties. So now we're at the point we've actually found something we like, and now we have to actually go ahead and make an offer. This is a really good time. You want to work with your realtor to find out what the market values are so you have a good idea of what to actually offer. And again, you can do this on your own. It requires an awful lot of legwork and research on what the market selling prices are for property per acre. I always err on the side of having a realtor working for you. Yes, it does add to the price of the property or the cost of the overall sale, but to me, I think it's well worth it to have somebody working on your side in your favor who understands the markets and the costs and everything involved with it. Be prepared once you do make an offer for a counter offer. Again, this is one of the reasons why we talk about in chapter 1 having your monies set aside and ready to go, because once this process starts, it is going to go very, very quickly. A caveat is just be prepared to walk away. If they're looking for more money than you want to spend, it's okay to walk away from a property. You have to remember that this is not the last of the monies you will spend as far as the purchase goes. There are a multitude of projects and things that are going to need to take place on that property that are going to cost a considerable amount of money. We talk about that in the other chapters of the book. So yeah, don't go over your budget and be prepared to walk away if it becomes absolutely necessary. This is a good time if you haven't found a real estate attorney. Really, you need to get one at this point because the process is going to move very quickly. All right. So typically, once you make the offer and the offer is accepted, you're going to have to put a down payment, which is typically 10% of the total cost. This can vary and can be negotiable, but market generally is a 10% down payment. Again, why we stress the importance of having all your money set aside and squared away before you even start the process. Once you have a contract signed, there's generally a 72-hour review period for you and your attorney to make any changes to that contract that you feel is necessary, and then that will go back to the seller and the seller's attorney, and negotiations will be had, and you guys will be able to reach an agreement. But again, you only have that 72 hours, so you want to have that real estate attorney lined up, ideally before you start looking or making serious offers. The process, it's very similar to the process of purchasing a home. So if you've done that, you're going to be familiar with usually what the steps are. Little nuances when you're talking about property in general. But again, you want to have your real estate attorney in place before you start, because again, once that offer is made, you're literally talking 24 to 48 hours from offer, counter offer, to signing a contract and then moving forward with setting a closing date. So you want all your pieces in place beforehand. All right, let's talk a little bit about insurance. There are definitely some nuances with insurance when you are purchasing a property, especially one that does not have any structures on it. So typically, and again, you got to check with your insurance carrier. If you have an existing home and you buy property that is undeveloped, you can typically roll that insurance cost or insurance coverage under your existing home policy. Because there's nothing on it, it can be a rider, and that will generally cover non-developed or undeveloped land. Once you start adding structures, that's when things get a little sketchier. Oftentimes insurance carriers will have a cost limit for what they will insure. I know when I put my shed on the property and reached out to my home insurance carrier, they advised me that if the structure was under $10,000 in cost, they would in fact not cover it. In that case, since I had things like an ATV and other items in the shed, which had insurance, that would cover them, but the shed itself would not be covered. Now the process gets even a little more complicated when you add a residential structure like a cabin or a home or something like that on the property. That is not something you can cover under your existing home property or your home policy. You would then need to get a freestanding policy just to cover that. Now, depending if your property is in another state, your current home insurance carrier may not want to even offer you a policy because they may not be able legally to offer us policies in that state. So you may have to start looking around and making phone calls in the state where your property is to find an insurance carrier. Again, this is an easy piece to forget because there's so many other moving parts once you purchase property and you're looking to buy. I, in fact, forgot to do this, and I went probably 5 sleepless nights with my cabin surrounded by trees that could potentially fall on it without having insurance on the cabin. But again, this is a piece as soon as you are getting ready to close, reach out to your insurance carrier to get the insurance pieces in place. So again, this is chapter 4 of the book. Really, it's a brief overview of what to do once you actually find the property. Much more detail in the book. We'll be going next week we'll talk about chapter 5 of the book, and we'll review the next steps once you've actually closed on the property. So I hope you've had a great weekend. I hope you have a great week. This will be up on YouTube probably by middle of this week. There's more information to come. Again, the book A Cabin in 40 Acres available wherever books are sold. Archwaypublishing.com, which is my publisher, Amazon, Barnes & Noble. You can even order it at your local bookstore and they'll have the soft cover for you. Again, take care. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you to everybody that has subscribed to the YouTube channel and everybody who follows me on Instagram at Grandpa's Cabin Life. Again, it's greatly appreciated. And again, there's going to be much more content coming forward as the weather improves. So everybody have a fantastic week, and we'll talk to you soon here at Grandpa's Cabin Life. Take care.